Amira, welcome back.
Hello.
Amira, do you also have physics and chemistry?
Yeah.
How is your physics?
It's okay.
It's okay means very good or good?
I'm good at like the maths because you just need to remember equations and rearrange them and stuff, but like the theory, my teacher, sometimes I don't understand when he explains it to me, the theory.
I see. How about chemistry?
Stuff I'm fine with.
So how many subjects you are going to take in GCSE? 5 or 6? English, math, right?
English, maths, chemistry, biology, physics, history, computer science, IT. So there's 8.
8. Oh, I see. For also UK, do you have to pay for that exams?
No, you don't.
So it's free.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Our students for each course, I think they have to pay around $70, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, for IGCSE International for all schools, you have to pay. Anyway, it's just UK. I think it's a government exam. It's like government exam. That's why you don't have to pay. I mean, let's continue. You try to. We have 2 more questions, I think, about simple interest plus 3. Let's do them quickly, and after we'll talk about compound interest.
Should I read it?
Yeah, if you read, it's better. And after
Mary
that,
needed capital for her bakery. She borrowed $60,000 for 4 years at a simple interest rate of 8% per year. How much interest must be paid? How much money will Mary pay at the end of 4 years?
okay, let's just start with A. So let's just write what is given.
How much interest must be paid? So
First, let's just write down what is given. The principal is given, right? P equals $60,000. Okay, and time, 4 years. T equals 4 years. And also interest rate is given. It is 8%. So draw a line. So we have to pay. We have to find I, right? I equals. No, that is R, right? Rate. The rate is 8%. Good.
what does it mean by how much interest must be paid? Is it just 8% of 60 times 4?
Yeah, because we are borrowing money from the bank. We are using bank's money, right? After 4 years, we have to return plus interest. So the question is how much interest we have to pay to the bank. So that is I equals PRT. Right? Since we are talking about simple interest. Okay, part B.
Yeah, is that 19,200 plus 60,000?
We have to return the borrowed money plus interest. So I mean, when you're just writing, can you also write first how you're evaluating this? Because when you just put only numbers, it may not be clear. For you is clear, but for the person who is checking or grading your exam paper, since we're talking about that amount, let's just write like this. A equals P plus I. Then substitute the values and write your answer. From here, I can see, you're finding the amount.
Okay.
Okay, in the next question, you'll do like that.
To save money for a bookshop, Ronald invested $2,500 at 6% per annum simple interest. How long will it take for the amount to add up to $3,400?
6%. Okay, we don't have to write X. I mean, just keep it as T. T equals question mark. And capital A is because it says how long will it take for the amount to add up to 3,400. So that's capital A, right? That's amount equals 3,400. So first let's write the formula, then substitute the values, right? A equals P plus I. Because writing this formula, actually, it shows your method, what method you are using here, clearly. So A minus P equals I, okay. Actually, instead of this I, okay, if you just write the whole thing, like what is I? This P R T, right? So from here, T equals A minus P over P R. Now substitute the values and evaluate. That shows your work very clearly. I can see how you're finding this, I mean, solving this question. Right? Because I equals PRT. And just we need to find T, we know P, we know R, we know A. So, six years.
Yeah.
Good. Let's move to the next question.
Simon wanted to borrow some money to expand his fruit shop. He was told he could borrow a sum of money for 30 months at 12% simple interest per year and pay 1,440 in interest charges. How much money could he borrow? Should we convert the 30 months to years?
Yes, because rate is given in a year. Usually all interest usually given in a year. I mean, the rate is per year. Let's also write T in front of the 30, so we can say it's a time. T equals 30 months. Okay, and the rate is given. Now, how much money could he borrow as P, right? Principal. equation. Interest is given, 1,440 in interest.
Oh.
The I is given. So we need to find P, principal.
How do we do that?
I equals PRT, right? I is given, R is given, T is given. Just we need to solve this for P and find P. I equals PRT. So from here, P equals I over RT. Now substitute the values. I equals 1,440. Can you also write P in front of this fraction? I mean, you can say that it's P. Okay. $400?
Yeah.
Are you sure it's not possible? Because interest is 1,440.
Oh, wait. Wait, is it 0.12 or is it just 12?
Yeah, 12%, right? 12% is 0.12. $4,800 because interest rate is quite high, 12%. Okay, good. Let's continue. That's our last question about simple interest, I guess. Yes.
To buy a car, Raymond borrowed $20,000 for 3.5 years and paid 5,880 simple interest on the loan. What rate of interest did he pay?
$20,000 times simple. Can you write R in front of the fraction, Amira? Yeah, the first one only because, okay, good. So since it's a rate, we have to leave it as a percentage. So 0.084 is, no, that is a decimal, right? So now we have to change this into percent. Percent. Okay. Now we can see better because That's why percentage shows clearer picture about the amounts. Thank you, Amira. Now we have some rest. I will talk a little bit about compound interest, and we will have a few questions about this. Let's see how many questions we have, maybe 2 or 3. Yes, 3 questions. And after that, maybe we'll finish. If we have time, we'll do some more questions. I have 2 bonus questions for you, and with this, we will finish the class. You know, Amir, at the beginning, as I said, in general, actually, in banks, they actually offer 3 different interests. Number 1 is simple interest that we have just studied. Second one is compound interest, that is also another type of interest. And third one is continuous interest. Actually, the special case of this compound interest is continuous interest. That means that they have to calculate every second. So this is a formula. Here we have that A, that amount. Amount means the what is it? The final balance or your balance. How much money you have in your account. This P is the principal that you have invested or deposited, and R is a rate, and T equals, what is it? Just time. For simplicity, let's just denote this capital R over 100. That's our rate. Let's say it is R. Okay. Now, what is the idea here? As you see from its name, this name suggesting that compound interest, at the end of each interval of time, actually, they're just compounding your interest with your amounts. Now, imagine that, let's say, you deposit P dollars and the rate is R for, let's say, just 3 years only, for 3 years. So that means that here we have 3 years, means here we have 3 different time interval. So at the beginning, you go to the bank and depositing P dollars, and you are saying that I have P dollars, and they ask, okay, what kind of rate interest would you like to use? Compound interest or simple interest? Continuous. And you say that compound interest. They explain, okay, here we have 3 different intervals because this rate is per year. So here we have the first year, and here we have the second year, and here we have the third year. So in compound interest, now it starts counting here, let's say the 1st of January, and at the end of the December, now here we have P1 because your money is growing, right? The bank is using, and here you have this principal plus they have to pay some interest. So now here, what is P1? Since rate is R, so our P1, and how much money do you have in your account? Number 1 is actually you already put this money here, P, plus they have to pay some reward, like for the use of your money. That is calculating on P because it depends on how much you deposit. P times rate times, and how many years pass here? Only 1. So actually P1 is this. At the end of 1 year, this much money is yours now. This much money you have in your accounts. Now, if you just simplify this, just 1 times anything is itself, and P is a common factor. You can just take this out. Here we have 1 plus R. Now, at the end of the first year, you have this money. If you want, you can withdraw this money from the bank. Okay, now you just continue keeping your money in the bank. So now the second year starts counting. So at the end of the second year, let's say now you have this amount. So now for us, the deposit is this. The bank is considering this amount. And that's why it is called compound. Now, because we have already combined your principal with the interest, or we're just compounding. That's why it's called compound interest. So what is now our P2? P2 is, because it's starting from here, everything starting from this principal. So here we have P1 plus P1 times rate does not change. And how many years pass here? 1 year. So again, here we have P1 is a common factor, P1, and here we have 1 plus R. Exactly the same expression here. The only difference is these principles are different. Now from the previous expression, what is P1? P1 equals this, P times 1 plus R. So instead of this P1, I can substitute this P times 1 plus R, and I have 1 more 1 plus R here, 1 plus R. And if you just simplify this, here we have P times 1 plus R. And here we have squared because 1 plus R times 1 plus R, 1 plus R squared. So at the end of the second year, P2, that means that you have this much amount in your account, P times 1 plus R squared. Now the third year starts counting. At the end of the third year, it is P3. So here we have that P3 is equal to, now actually again, the last amount in your account is this money. So we are considering this, not the initial deposits. That's the difference between simple interest and compound interest. So here we have P2 plus P2 times R times 1. So we are talking about this 1 year. So everything is the same, just here P2 instead of P1, P2, 1 plus R. And in the previous step, we have already calculated P2. P2 equals P times 1 plus R squared. So let's just write P times 1 plus R squared. And I have here one more 1 plus R, 1 plus R. So if you simplify this, we have 1 plus R cubed. So if you invest your money for 3 years, here we have 3. For 2 years, here we have 2. Here we have 1, and here we have 1. Now we can draw a conclusion. In general, it is true. We can prove this in some mathematical way, but now just accept this as a fact. Then if you're depositing your money for T years, after T years, the amount that is in your balance will be equal to P times 1 plus R to the power T. And this 3 is the number of years. So now if you want to find the compound interest, what is compound interest? At the beginning, you actually invested this money. After a certain period of time, now your money grows to this amount, right? And the difference between these two amounts, it gives us something. What is it? That's your money earns. Actually, that is compound interest. And compound interest equals here, what we have here, amount. That is A minus, at the beginning, we actually deposited this P dollars, P. And that is how we find the compound interest. Okay?
Okay.
Are you sure?
Pardon?
Are you sure? Everything clear?
I think so.
Okay. So the main idea is at the end of each time interval, actually, the interest is compounded with your principal. That is the main point here. Let's see one example. Find the compound interest on $600 for 3 years at 3.5% per annum, compounded annually. Compounded annually means at the end of each year. So that means in 3 years, we have 3 different time intervals. 3 time intervals. So what is given here? Principal is given. So that is $600. And the time, it is 3 years. And the rate, it is 3.5%, 3.5%. So we need to find the compound interest, I. And what is compound interest? Compound interest is amount minus P. And we know this compound interest formula, that's equal to P times 1 plus, let's say R here, and to the power T minus P. Or simply, I can just, P is a common factor. I can just write here, or no need to write again and again. What is P? It is 600. And here we have 1 plus rate, that is 0.035. And for 3 years, minus 1. And for compound interest, we need to use calculator because always we have an exponent here. What we have here, 600 times open brackets. So here we have 1.035 to the power 3 and the minus 1. Close the brackets. So that's equal to 65 point, corrected 2 decimal places, $23. If it was actually simple interest, we know that 3.5% of 600, it is 1821, and if you just multiply by 3, it would be $63. So this is compound interest at the end of each year. the interest is compounded with the principal. That's why it earns a bit more. So anyway, that is how we calculate the compound interest. Another similar example, find the compound interest of 1,500 for 5 years as 3% per annum. Okay, it's exactly the same, just numbers are different. Anyway, just for warm up, Amira, you do this for your practice.
Okay.
First, just write it down, what is given, principal, time, and rate. So we have to find the compound interest.
Wait, what was the formula again?
P, let's write the formula first, and after you'll substitute the values. P times, in brackets, 1 plus R to the power of T. That is equal to A, right? That's amount, not interest. So to find I, we need to find, what is it? The difference. A minus P gives us the interest, compound interest, A minus P. $238.91. Correct. That's right. Okay. The last question about compound interest. And sometimes,
Yeah.
Sometimes actually, it may not be compounded annually. It may be compounded, I mean, your interest may be compounded semi-annually or quarterly or monthly, even daily, even actually every second. Of course, when it is daily or every second is a bit different, we will use continued interest. But here another case, how about actually if you want a bank to compound your interest every month or every 3 months, or let's say every 6 months, or every even 9 months, doesn't matter, every year. At that time, we need to make some adjustment to the formula, since our formula is that A is equal to P times 1 plus R to the power T, right? So actually here we are talking about the rate per year. Our rate here is, the rate is per annum. Per annum means per year. So now, for example, here, how about if we just compound this 4 times a year, quarterly? Okay. So that means I can just imagine that now instead of 1 year, that is a total time here. So at the end of each quarter, the bank is compounding, but in the question, or the bank has only annual rates. So how can I change this annual rate into semi-annual rate or quarterly rate or let's say even monthly rate? At the time here in 1 year, if you're calculating quarterly, at that time we need to divide this by 4 because let's say our rate is 12%, right? So if you deposit $100 at the end of one year, how much it earns actually? You will have $112, right? And how about in 1 month? Approximately, it means that it is 1%, right? Every month, it is just earning 1%. So here, to make this adjustment here, we need to just divide this R by the number of intervals in a year. If it is monthly, we should divide by 12. If it is quarterly, by 4. If it is semi-annually, by 2. So N. And here, instead of not one time, if it is quarterly, we are actually compounding 4 times, right? So here we need to multiply this time by N. Now see here, if, for example, in this question, the compound interest on 2,500 for 1 year at 4% per annum compounded monthly. So actually this per annum, the rate is given in per annum. How do we make this adjustment? Then here we need to write, okay, our principal is 2,500. So 1 year time is 1 year. Since we actually it is compounded monthly, 1 year equals 12 months because in 1 year your interest is compounded 12 times. So how many time intervals do we have in 1 year? We have 12. So at the time this will be 12 times 1. So what is the question? The compound interest. Then compound interest will be equal to A minus P. And we know that P is a common factor here. We need to write here 1 plus R. What is the rate? It is 4%. That is 0.04. It's monthly. In 1 year, we have 12 months. And the 1 year times, in 1 year, how many months we have? 12. And here we have minus 1. And if you just calculate this, you'll get the answer. Usually if the question is given like this, but it is compounded monthly or quarterly or semi-annually, this is how we actually make adjustment to the formula. Okay, Amira?
Okay.
Let's just finish this question. It's 2,500. Let's see what we have here. It is 1 plus 0.04 is divided by 12. And they close the bracket to the power 12 minus 1. So that's equal to $101.85. So in 1 year, if it is compounded monthly, and if the interest rate is 4% per year, at the end of 1 year, the bank actually gives you this much compound interest for using that amount of money. Okay?
Okay.
Good. Amira, I have one question for you. It's not challenging, a little bit different question. It's from GCS. It's not about this business question. It's about coordinate geometry. Let's discuss that question, okay? And I'll finish this question. It is somewhere here. Amira, can you try this question? Actually, I was just having a look at some GCSE questions and this question attracted my attention. I just wonder how you solve this.
L is the circle of equation x squared plus y squared equals 4. So P, and then it gives you the coordinates, is a point on L. Find an equation of the tangent to L at the point P. What is it asking me for?
First, can you draw a circle, Amira? Okay. And also let's just write x-axis and y-axis, x and y. Now the point that's 3 over 2 square root of 7 over 2. Where is it? It is somewhere there. Let's just mark a point. Okay. Now can you draw a tangent to the circle at this point?
So like this way.
Yeah. So that's a straight line. It's a tangent to the circle at this point, right? So the question is, find an equation of the tangent. So you need to write the equation of that line.
Okay. Wait, how do we know the radius?
Radius?
Yeah.
You mean to find the slope, that gradient m?
Yeah.
How are you going to? Okay, that is the equation of the tangent line. Okay, mx plus c. So we need to find m and c, right? So are you asking me how can you find m?
Yeah.
Just using the property of circle, if you draw any tangent, right, it's always perpendicular to the radius at that point, right?
Yeah.
So if these two lines are perpendicular, what we know about the gradients, let's say the gradient of this one is m1, and gradient of this tangent is m, we already wrote here. And we know that if these two things are perpendicular, m times m1 is equal to -1, right?
Yeah.
Since the center of the circle is at the origin, so this line, assume that here this is a line, straight line, it is passing through this point and this point. So can you write the equation of this circle, I mean this straight line? Or not even, you don't have to write the equation. Can you just find the gradient of this line segment, this radius? Because we know these points, right? We know these points. How do you find the gradient? That m1, it is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay, then just calculate this, you can find this, and after that you can find m. Since they are perpendicular to each other, their product should be equal to -1. So it is -2 over 2 minus 0, 3 over 2, that's equal to -7 over 3. Are you simplifying, Amira? In the denominators we have 2's, they cancel each other, right? It's square root of 7 over 3.
Yeah.
Okay, let's just write it. Good. Now let's find m. What is m? M equals,
Is that right?
Minus, right? Yeah, I mean, why don't you just write 3 over square root of 7?
Oh, yeah.
Minus 3 over square root of 7. Okay. So now we got m. Now how can you find c? Using the coordinates of p, right? Because since it is passing through p, the point p, that's 3 over 2, and square root of 7 over 2 must satisfy the equation.
Yeah, but like, how does that relate to C?
This is the equation of tangent line, right? The tangent.
Yeah.
So now we know m, is it?
Mm-hmm.
So if you just substitute here, then y equals minus 3. Okay, we have already written here. Okay, that thing. And actually, what is it? It's the equation of this the tangent, and tangent is passing through the point P. It means that when x equals 3 over 2, that means at this point it is 3 over 2. Then y value is square root of 7 over 2. Is it 2?
Yeah.
Yes. So if you substitute here, this one is square root of 7 over 2 should be equal to minus 3 over square root of 7 times, what is the value of x? 3 over 2.
Oh, okay. You meant substitute it in. Okay. I thought you were telling me to work out another set of points for some reason. So you just rearrange it now to work out C.
Yeah. Let's finish it. Let's arrange, and I'm just hoping it will be, you will get simpler equation. Do we? Okay, I think it's not. Yeah, I think. What is C? C equals 2 to the 7 plus 9 is 16 over 8 over square root of 7. Okay. Is it 8 over square root of 7? Take to the
I
left.
think so.
Common denominator is 2 times square root of 7. It is 7 plus 9, 16. 16 over 2 is 8. So it's 8 over square root of 7. Okay. Dot, dot, dot. The equation of the tangent is y equals that is a little bit challenging question GCSE. I don't know in which year. I mean, that much is enough. I will give you one question until next week. Maybe some other question for practice. I will see. Okay, because you're busy. Just one question. Try to solve this. It is this question.
Okay.
Can you remember this or screenshot this? Or I can send you actually later.
I can screenshot it.
Yeah, screenshot and try to solve this. You have 7 days to solve this question. If you can solve this earlier, like before Sunday, you can just screen and take a picture and send it to me, to my WhatsApp. Okay?
Okay.
Amira, thank you very much. Have a nice new week next week. See you next Sunday. Okay?
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.